Hey, this is Ray, and this is Seeds of Growth, basically planting seeds. I had a conversation recently, and it led me to share this message. Prayerfully, it will just be short and sweet. Um, we're in some interesting times. There's lots of noise and things and people and things being spoken, and all of these things. Like, there's just so much going on, and we can probably say that for some of our personal lives as well, right? We may be having issues here or having issues there, whether it be family or whether it be money, right? Maybe we don't have enough, or we're trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. I think that's the saying, or something like that, right? We're having issues at work, or we're working in a crazy negative environment, and it's something that we want to get out of. Um, Maybe our man or our woman is not quite acting right, or you think something's going wrong, or you think something is awry, or maybe things just are good, but they could be so much better, or um, you know maybe there's some issues with your maybe there's some issues with your children, whether they're young or old, and you're trying to figure those things out, and just move through all of that stuff, or maybe it's just you, right? Maybe you don't feel good. You're maybe having some health issues, or maybe you're having some mental issues, right? Because there's just so much going on, and you're just trying your best to make it through to the next day. So, one thing that I'll say is I've been there. I've been all of those things. Like, I mean, I could probably name a couple more, right? So, but one thing that I have learned, and it was very difficult to like move through that process, especially if you've kind of sort of lived your life this way. But one thing that I learned is when you allow God to come in and you release all of that stuff, whatever it is, when you release all that stuff and you say, I'm surrendering this to you because I just cannot do it. I'm simply asking you to intercede, to come in, to help me, to direct me, to guide me, to just give me some sort of comfort in knowing that you are going to take care of it. See, the one thing that I learned is that we are not here to do it by ourselves, right? And the moment that we think that we make our own decisions, and we do this and we do that and we do the other, which is kind of sort of what we've always been doing, unless you were taught any differently, that's where all the stress, the mental, just everything comes in. And that's also where the disease and the health problems and all of those things come in, right? Because you're stressed, and stress brings on disease. Stress brings on problems, issues, things of that nature. It's just like a ripple effect, right? But here you are in your humanness trying to be all things, and it's not possible. It's not possible without God. That's just my personal opinion. And it's not just my personal opinion, excuse me for saying that. It is my experience. It is my experience that it cannot be done in the way that it is supposed to be done, because God has a plan for all of us. And when you are outside of relationship with Him, you have no idea what that is. And you think that you are supposed to be out here doing all the things by yourself. And what I want you to know is, if you allow, and if you talk to Him, if you pray, if you, whatever it is, right? What will happen is there will be a shift, and you and whoever it is, or whatever, whoever you call a higher power of your own understanding. Mine is God. There will be a shift and you will be working together, right? And I'm not saying that everything's going to be perfect, because sometimes there's tests and things of that nature. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But what I'm saying is that you won't feel like you're alone in this, like you're struggling, like you're up against a wall and all of these things. Because he always promises that he's going to take care of us. And if you think about it, he always does if you call on him. It might not necessarily be the way that you want it to be, or you envisioned it, or how you saw it, or whatever the case may be, but it always does take place. It always happens. If you can shift your mind that way. Because if you're in a negative space, that's probably like over your head, like whatever kind of thing. I've been there too. So I just really wanted to share something with you that I have shared with many people, but that I also shared with this person that I had a conversation with. One of the simplest things that I did in the very beginning of my transformation, healing, whatever you want to call it, is, there were lots of people that were praying and you need to do this and you need to do that, but that didn't necessarily resonate with me. It just didn't, right? And so I had part of a practice. There were actually prayers that my pastor had given us that I said often, but I didn't really say it with any conviction or any belief or any faith, right? You can say things all the time, but you have to actually mean them. You actually have to believe in them. And you can do that really with constant repetition if you're willing to take the time to do that. But I decided that I was going to find something that was like really easy for me to say and really easy for me to just kind of sort of get out, because I really wasn't in 100% belief and I really didn't kind of sort of know what I was doing. I was just trying to find my own personal way of saying something or believing in something that was going to make me feel good, that was going to make me feel like I'm in partnership, in relationship with this higher power, and this higher power is going to help me. I believe it. I want to build my faith. I want to build my belief. And so there's 2 scriptures that I memorized, and one of them is the 23rd Psalm. The 23rd Psalm is so powerful, and it speaks to so many things. So many things. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want is enough to just shut everything down. Right? If you need something, he's going to provide it. The other one is Ephesians 3:20. I promise you, if you recite, memorize, eventually start to believe and start to have unwavering faith in just the words of those 2 scriptures, I promise you your life will change. I promise your mindset will change. I promise the stress will be relieved. I promise you that things will fall off if they're not for your greatest and highest good. I promise you that all the issues and problems that you have will simply disappear. And while you are being added to, and while you are also being eliminated, there are things that are being eliminated from your life, your faith, belief, and conviction in your relationship with God will grow. Now, there are definitely other things that you can do, but this is, let's just call it, it's for beginners, right? Because you must daily pick yourself up. You must tell yourself a different story. If you are in a negative loop, if you are in, anxiety or depression or whatever, you must do something daily, sometimes several times a day, to move all of those old thoughts out so that you can bring those new thoughts, feelings, emotions, situations, experiences in. And you don't have to be a believer in God to do this. I've heard so many stories of, someone was an atheist or someone didn't believe or whatever the case may be, but then something happened, something took place, and they started, saying affirmations, mantras, scriptures, whatever it is. But I am just sharing this because this is my experience. Right? This is my personal experience on how there has been such a shift in my life. And it's not just because of Psalm 23 and Ephesians 3:20. But you have to start somewhere, right? You have to start somewhere. So I'm going to leave you with this because I think that this is imperative. It is necessary. And this message is only for who this message is for. Right? So if this is not something that resonates with you or gives you an aha or like, then just keep going. Like keep scrolling or whatever it is that you're doing. Right? It's not for you. But for those that it is for, and I know that there's lots of people that this is for. And one of the reasons why I know is because this audio, this video, or whatever it is that you want to call it, that I have posted is something that God has asked me to do for a while. And I don't think God asked me to do anything if it's not for someone. Right? So take my advice. If you are out there struggling, this is not an instant answer because I don't think there are any instant answers. Unfortunately, our society thinks that there are and has people believing that. But everyone's experience is different. You could be on the cusp of something. And this video, these words that I'm spewing out of my mouth might actually be what it is that you need to move forward to the next step, to the next level of your relationship with your higher power, right? So this is not about doubt or questioning or anything like that. But if that is what it is that, if this is, again, let me just say this one more time. If this is not for you, it's fine. It's fine because I am making this audio for someone. And that's all that matters, even if it's just one person. So I am Ray, and this is Seeds of Growth. As I plant seeds, I thank you for being here. I thank you for listening. I hope that you come back. I plan on doing this more and more. This is what obedience looks like. And I would implore you to give me some feedback. If this is your story, if this is your struggle, if this is something that you needed, let me know. Because I'm going to be in the comments reading. And if you would, now that I'm asking for stuff, if you would, in the comments, tell me, I needed this. Even if that's all that you need to say or all that you have to say, right? Because I could be catching someone on the verge of crying when you hear this audio. I could be catching someone who's just like at their wit's end and trying to, figure out the next step of what it is that they're supposed to do. Let me know in the comments. Tell me I needed this. And put a fire emoji behind it. And then if you have anything else to say, please say it, because I'm going to be looking for it and I'm going to be reading. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day. I hope your week is going great. But if it isn't, this too shall always pass. Always.